Welcome to this course on using AI tools, recorded in August 2026. This course consists of 6 videos, with the first being quite a bit longer than the others, and 5 homework assignments of 2 to 3 hours suggested effort. If you do the assignments, this course is guided independent study. A good pace would be 1 video and its assignment per week. I use the word week throughout the lectures, though of course you can go at your own pace. If you don't do the assignments, this is a lecture course, which you could complete in a week or even a couple of days. This course assumes you have little or no experience using a chatbot or other AI tools. However, as the lectures develop, there is plenty of interesting and useful information for even experienced chatbot users. However, we will not cover vibe coding or agentic AI in this course. I may add them in the future. In the description of the YouTube video, there is a link to the PDF master document for this course. Links to all documents in this course proceed from the master document. All PDF documents have multiple pages. If you only see the first page, that is a problem with your PDF viewer. Either fix the PDF viewer or download the file to your computer and use a different viewer on your computer. Likewise, if your viewer will not let you click on links. I created this image by telling an AI tool what I wanted. Create an image of 2 bearded Lord of the Rings wizards in pointy hats, holding staffs, talking to one another. Radagast on the left, Gandalf the Grey on the right, in a dark green forest. Give each a speech bubble. I'm too old to learn all this new tech on the left, and with AI you don't learn it, you use it on the right. Put a title on the bottom in large size, using AI tools. And it generated the image. You will use text-to-image tools in assignment 2. In this case, I used Google Search AI Mode, Gemini Nano Banana.
With AI, you don't learn it, you use it.
In assignment 4, we will learn how to turn an image, either generated or uploaded, into a short video. I used Luma Dream Machine to generate this video. In the master document, there are links to the lecture scripts for each video. The captions for the videos were automatically generated by Google, not from my scripts, and may contain errors. After each video, there is a homework assignment to work on before the next video to get hands-on experience to supplement the lectures. I recommend you put in 2 to 3 hours of assignment work between videos. I will talk more about this later when I introduce the first assignment. A lot of what you will take away from this course will be what you learn by doing the assignments. This will be learn by doing. Sometimes it will be play and fun, other times it may be a little challenging. We will not read a book. We will not read an instruction manual. We will connect to the tools, ask them questions, tell them what we wanted them to do, and see what they generate. I have been using ChatGPT occasionally since 2023. In the fall of 2025, I used ChatGPT extensively and Gemini increasingly to learn material to develop a course on color and human color vision. In this Using AI Tools course, you will use ChatGPT, Claude, and Gemini, and probably Perplexity and Copilot as well. To prepare for this course, I used 7 chatbots and tried 33 non-chatbot AI tools. I taught this course in June 2026. Later I will explain what chatbots are, but let me do a quick demo here without much explanation. Suppose we had asked Google Search a couple years ago, "What is Minecraft and why do kids love it?" We would have gotten something like the following. We got links to websites and YouTube videos that hopefully would answer our question. Google Search also offered related questions that others had frequently asked. Now, let's see how a chatbot, ChatGPT, responds. The website is chatgpt.com. Chatbots respond to questions with answers generated in good natural language. Well written. This answer was generated in response to my question. The answer was not retrieved from a website or database or a past conversation. Sometimes a chatbot will provide links to relevant source articles, but that is secondary to generating an answer. More on this later. If you have never used a modern chatbot, I suggest that you pause the video and try chatgpt.com for a while before returning to the video. The next material is about the course, but I want you to have some hands-on experience first. Also, whenever you feel like the video is dragging on, pause the video, use the chatbot some more, then continue with the video. The first video is long before the first assignment, but you don't have to watch it in one sitting. I am not an expert in AI tools, chatbots, or using chatbots. We don't need an expert for us to get started using the tools and learning. Often, an expert wants to immediately tell us how chatbots and AI work. For this course, our focus will be what tools are available for free and how to use those tools. As the lectures progress, we will learn a good deal about how chatbots work, more than many books cover, but not all at once and not until we have used the tools. We might initially assume that these tools are only for the young or for tech nerds. Not true. We can learn and use these tools, and they can help our lives. They can help us at all ages. They can be particularly useful for seniors. They are tools, not a chore. I provide the framework, guidance, lectures, demonstrations, tool recommendations, and assignments. You bring the energy and curiosity, your time, and the learn by doing. Chatbots can do many things, and we will get experience with many of their capabilities. Each video, we will learn more about the chatbots and add new experiences with the chatbots. We will also use non-chatbot AI tools, starting with the second video. The first assignment will be getting used to different chatbots. The following 4 assignments will be 2 parts. Part B will be additional chatbot capabilities, 1 capability per assignment. Part A will be creating images, editing images, creating videos, and creating music and speech, all of which you will do. Each assignment, we will use new non-chatbot tools and also see that the chatbots are also very capable. I have used each of the 40 tools that I suggest for you in this course. You will use at least 7 tools, but you could easily try 15 to 20 tools. Perhaps you would like to keep a list of the tools you have used and what each was good for. I hope that you will spend 2 to 3 hours on each assignment. If you are short on time, Part A is the priority before the next video. Part B can always be done independently in the future. Over the 6 videos, we will cover quite a bit about the chatbots, but not cover vibe coding or agentic AI. Lecture 1 will be Chatbot Introduction, Basics, Safe Use, and Hallucinations. Lecture 2 will be Image Generation, Document Summarization, User Interface Commonality and Differences, Explicit Memory, Remember and Forget. Lecture 3 will be Projects and Gleaned Memories. Lecture 4 will be Study, Learn Mode, and Configuration Settings. Lecture 5 will be Context, the context window, and guardrails. Clean response to a prompt. Lecture 6 will be Tokens, Tokenization, Languages, Inference, Parameters, Training, and GPU clusters. At the end of the course, I will give a document listing the many other areas of AI tools and usage that you might use or encounter. I have only used my desktop Mac. You can use a desktop, laptop, or tablet. You can use your smartphone if you like. All of the tools we will use are available as websites, and that is how I have used them and will demonstrate them. Some tools and chatbots are also available as apps that you can install on your computer, tablet, or smartphone. You might need the app on your tablet or smartphone to fully utilize touch input. If you wish to use the app, that is fine, but the user interface may differ from the web version I demonstrate and have used for testing. All of the tools we will use have a free tier, where some capabilities are available for some amount of use. We will only use the free tier in this course. A few sites are annoying, repeatedly inviting you to join a paid tier. For this course, stay with the free tier and never give any site your credit card information. If you happen to already subscribe to a paid tier for some tool, that's great. Many or most tools give you some access and capability without creating an account. Almost all tools support user accounts. I recommend that you create an account for each tool you use and that you work logged in. This will save your work and history so you won't lose them when you reboot your device or restart the browser or use a different browser or a different device or come back in 6 months. Chatbots learn your preferences and store them for your account. If you don't want to create accounts for every tool, that's fine. Some tools let you log in with your Google, Microsoft, or Apple account. I don't do this myself, but some people do. If you already do this for some websites, I don't think the chatbots present special security risks. Most tools, but not all, let you create an account with your email address as username. This is what I do, but I use a good password manager, so unique accounts are not a burden. When you create an account, most sites will send you an email to confirm your email address. You must click the button or link to confirm your email or your account will not work and you won't know why. If the email is not in your inbox, look in your spam or junk folder. If you don't click the confirmation, your account will get black holed and you will not be able to log in or reset your password. For some tools, you never enter a password. You give your email address or your cell phone number, and the site sends you a link or code to enter. No password. This is fine. I will alert you to tools with login problems. Two of the popular video creation tools I know are from China, but I did not check each tool to see whether the website or company was from China or Russia. If this is of concern to you, you will have to check. For example, you could ask a chatbot. On free tier, and also on paid tiers, the tools limit how much compute-intensive work you can request in some period of hours. This is rate limiting. When you reach this limit, you will not be able to continue that work in that tool with that login account for some number of hours, in some cases, 24 hours. The tool will tell you what time you can continue. Here is an example from ChatGPT, and it tells us when we can continue to use the tool. First, learn the basics, then play, fun, curiosity, exploration. Also, see if it can help you with something you have wanted help with or with daily life. Chatbots and all the tools we will try use a branch of artificial intelligence called generative artificial intelligence, or GAI, and typically use fine-tuned large language models, LLMs. Large language models are extremely good at parsing, understanding, and generating natural language, English, but actually very many languages. The tools we will use process our natural language text input and generate a response in real time, not a retrieved response from some website or database or a past conversation. The generated response is a well-written, formatted text answer, or a generated image, generated video, generated music, etc. You will do all of these. You do not need to remember the AI terms. All of the work is done at large AI data centers, not on your computer. Everything you input goes to the data centers. It is possible to have your computer do the AI processing, but we will not do this in this course. If you are bilingual, I encourage you to try your other language. I expect the major chatbots would do very well with many languages, including languages written right to left. Languages written vertically are probably rendered horizontally. I expect that the non-chatbot tools may be less capable with multiple languages. There are other kinds of models and other branches of artificial intelligence great for other purposes that we will not cover. AI-assisted driving and autonomous driving, playing all manner of games, often able to defeat the best human experts, solving math problems and proving theorems, science research, predicting protein folding, forecasting the weather, proposing new drugs and vaccines, proposing causes of medical conditions, diagnosing X-rays, operating robots and drones. One other branch of AI is artificial general intelligence, AGI. Chatbots do not use artificial general intelligence. The remainder of the material today is on chatbots, using ChatGPT to get us started. We will start using non-chatbot AI tools in the second video. A chatbot is a software application or website designed to converse through text or speech. Chatbots have existed for 60 years. ChatGPT was the first modern generative artificial intelligence chatbot and AI assistant, and it continues to be the most widely used and general-purpose chatbot. It was developed by the company OpenAI and originally released in November 2022. ChatGPT has about 1 billion weekly active users, 5% with paid subscriptions and 95% using the free tier. As of 2026, OpenAI has not yet made a profit, but neither have its independent competitors, including Anthropic. OpenAI and Anthropic intend to IPO in the fall of 2026. I use ChatGPT in most of my demonstrations, but most of what I say applies as well to Anthropic's Claude, Google's Gemini, Microsoft's Copilot, Perplexity, and other modern chatbots. I encourage you to try several chatbots. They have different strengths, as we will see throughout this course. I will give you a link to my chatbot comparison. Chatbots are designed to process natural language input and to generate good readable text. They can carry out a wide variety of tasks, including, among many others, answering questions, sometimes at a level exceeding that of an average human test taker, composing articles, essays, term papers, scripts, fairy tales, and music, generating business concepts, writing and debugging computer programs, called vibe coding, and serving as customer service and support virtual assistants. Generating a text response from a text prompt could be called text to text, but I don't think it is anymore. Modern chatbots like ChatGPT are typically based on generative large language models called generative pre-trained transformers, GPTs, which are pre-trained to predict the next word after a string of words, sort of. This is the GPT in ChatGPT, if you were wondering. GPTs for chatbots are then post-trained and aligned to follow instructions and to behave as assistants. We don't need to learn how AI works in any detail. We don't need to be computer scientists. We don't need to be young. We just need to try the tools for free. Think about how they could be useful for us and use them when they are useful. However, as this course progresses, we will learn more about how chatbots work. I will start by clicking the New Chat button on the left. You will use this button. I will explain New Chat later. Users interact with ChatGPT and other chatbots through conversations, which consist of text, audio, and image inputs and outputs. The user's inputs to these conversations are referred to as prompts. All but the left side of this screen is called the main conversation area or the prompt area. This includes any buttons below this white bubble, so these buttons. For ChatGPT, I see 3 buttons: create an image, write or edit, and search the web. These buttons can help you get started, but you don't really need them, and I hardly ever use them. Buttons differ from one chatbot to the next. Typically, you only see these buttons for a new chat before you get your first response, but they do serve as a reminder of the diverse uses of the chatbot. Chatbot user interfaces have evolved rapidly, changing from a year ago and even from a couple months ago. The whiter bubble above the buttons is the prompt box, prompt input, chat input, input box, or prompt bar, where you type your prompt. There is a thing called the context window. That is a completely different thing we will talk about in a later video. See this plus sign? In mid-2026, every chatbot prompt box has that plus sign. We can attach a document, image, or other file to our prompt, or do other stuff. We will cover that later. We type our prompt into the prompt box. A question, command, or instructions. I can type What is Minecraft and why do kids love it? With a question mark and the W capitalized. Actually, I did not need to capitalize what, and I did not need to type the question mark. Chatbots understand language very well and allow easy typing. They are conversational. They are not demanding, fussy, or precious about your text entry. They will never come back with, "So, what is your question?" as long as they understand what you want. They will not reject your input because you did not capitalize or maybe had a typo. They will soldier on and generate some output. When you have typed your prompt, you have three options. You can hit the Enter key, or you can click that arrow button on the right to send prompt or submit. Or, if some chatbot, such as Perplexity, is proposing some alternate prompts, auto-suggestions, below the prompt box, you can click one of those. Instead of typing, you can speak your prompt by clicking this microphone, speaking, and then clicking the check mark that will appear in place of the arrow. What is Minecraft and why do kids love it? This did speech to text, and it put the text in the prompt box where I can edit it, but did not submit it as my ChatGPT is currently configured. Different chatbots call this dictation, voice mode, or use microphone, and they treat it differently. Some chatbots immediately submit the prompt. Some then speak their response. Use speech input whenever you like. I will continue to type my prompts. To use speech to text, you need to configure the proper settings in your device and sometimes in your browser also. You can ask a chatbot how to do this. I give instructions for a Mac in the first assignment. Once we enter our prompt and submit it, the chatbot gives us its response or output, a direct conversational answer. You may want to pause the video and try this. The response is in natural language, helpful, well written, and nicely formatted. This response is several pages long but well structured. In this case, the response included helpful images. For very many things, the chatbot's response is great and what you wanted and much easier than Google search results from a couple years ago. I'm not going to lecture about the chatbot's responses. You will get experience reading their responses and also follow-up prompting for changes. I'm going to ask you to do something for the duration of this course as a learning experience. Anytime you are about to ask a question of an internet search engine, I ask you to ask a chatbot instead. This will give you a variety of experience quickly. Search engines today have AI modes and offer answers to your questions, but please use the chatbot websites or apps for the duration of this course. My experience is that Google Search's AI mode responses seem shorter and terser than Google Gemini websites' responses. They use the same large language model, but the user interfaces seem configured differently by default. Now, there are tasks for which you probably want to continue using search. If you're searching for YouTube videos, use search. If you are searching for the correct link to a company or product, use search. If you are shopping, use search or you can try the chatbots. But If you want the answer to a question, use the chatbots. When I want a tool to identify a location from a photograph, I still use Google Search. At the bottom of the response, all of the chatbots allow you to rate each response with a thumbs up or thumbs down. I am lazy about giving thumbs up, but I do give thumbs down when a response is bad. More on this later. All of the chatbots allow you to click this copy icon to copy your prompt or their response to the clipboard with rich text formatting. You can then paste it into any word processing document or into email. I use this often. Here I'm going to copy the response, and now I'm going to paste it into Word. In developing this course, I gave many prompts to the 5 main chatbots to get their recommendations, guidance, and examples. I pasted my prompts and their responses into Word documents. I could have developed this course without using the chatbots, but since this course is using AI tools, I used the AI tools. I wasn't cheating, and the assignments and lecture notes, I give links to the PDFs I created in this way. You don't need to read these documents, but they're available to you for transparency and because this technique could potentially help you in future. Later, I will talk about the risks of trusting the chatbot results. Some of the chatbots can read their response aloud. I will show this, but beware that my software is not recording my computer audio correctly, so the audio might not sound great.
Image Minecraft is a sandbox video game in which players explore a world made almost entirely of cube-shaped blocks. Rather than giving players a fixed story to follow, it gives them a large world and a set of tools, then lets them decide what they want to do.
So, go ahead and use this whenever you like. Follow-up prompts. Did the chatbot answer my question? Yes. Does the answer make sense? I think so. If you don't understand a response, you can enter explain that more clearly, or I don't understand, rephrase that. It understands that you are referring to the prior response. These are not magic phrases, just tell it what you need in plain English. Do we like the response? If we want a shorter or longer version, we can give a follow-up prompt. Make it longer, make it shorter, summarize it. Make it less detailed or more detailed. Make it simpler. We can ask it to format it differently or turn it into a presentation. I don't see anything about this Minecraft response that I want to ask it to change. Do I need clarification or follow-up? Yes, I do have some follow-up questions. I could ask them one at a time or all at once. The chatbot understands. I don't have to retype the prior prompt or edit that prompt. I just ask my follow-up questions. So, let's see what it does. Tell me about some of the historical recreations and the complex engineering systems. And what is redstone? How are kids protected from unwanted adults? And I'm going to send that. It answered historical recreations. It answered about complex engineering systems. It answered about what is redstone. And it answered about how are kids protected from unwanted adults. You can keep asking follow-up questions within the chat. The chatbot remembers the context within the chat. Modern chatbots are capable of maintaining a conversation with a user in natural language and simulating the way a human would behave as a conversational partner. If you don't like it to speak as though it were a person, some chatbots let you configure this in settings. In the first assignment, you will be prompting multiple chatbots to gain experience. You may already be quite comfortable with asking questions and other prompting, but for some of you, this is brand new and possibly intimidating. Within the first assignment, I give you links to 2 documents to help you. The first is example prompts and good prompting techniques that ChatGPT generated in response to my prompting it. This is helpful to a beginner, but actually all of those examples are single sentences and short and give the wrong impression that your prompts need to be single sentences and short. They don't. They can be multiple sentences, they can be long, they can be complicated, whatever the chatbot can understand and respond to. Throughout this course, I give you links to many documents intended to be useful and helpful. But there are a lot of documents and some are long. This is not meant to be an exercise in reading my many documents. We want to use the AI tools, so read enough to get started using the tools and then get experience. The documents will remain available and should be useful for future independent study. Some documents are worth skimming to the end. Other documents are useful once you get enough experience that you wonder what understanding you might be missing. Your prompt should be clear and specific when your request is clear to you and specific. But sometimes your thought may be general and perhaps unclear, and you want the chatbot's response. You may want a narrow answer, or you may want an open-ended response. Your prompt should include the relevant information, but maybe you don't know what is relevant until you read the response. You can specify your intent or the intended audience for the response. If you have constraints you want the chatbot to apply, you can specify them. If you have examples you want the chatbot to use as a guide, you can include them. If you know what format you want, paragraphs, itemized list, bulleted list, step-by-step instructions, you can specify that in your prompt. Or you can specify a different format once you see the response. The chatbots make reasonable formatting decisions, so you don't need to specify formatting all the time. If you have long-term formatting preferences, later in the course, we will learn how to give the chatbot your preferences. You can prompt for the tone and style you want the chatbot to write in, including emotional tone. Or you can specify a change once you see the response. When you prompt the chatbot to do some creative writing, you can specify a writing or artistic style. For example, in the style of Ernest Hemingway or Taylor Swift or Edgar Allan Poe. You can prompt that you want a creative response. You can prompt that you want a factual, scientifically defensible answer. You can prompt however you wish. However you think and write. The chatbot understands very well and does not require you to write in any given way. There are not really right and wrong prompts, though some are more effective or less effective at getting the response you want. You can ask more than one question at a time. I often do this. You can add information after the question. You do not need to craft a careful sentence with perfect grammar. You are talking with an assistant that understands conversation. The second file I point you to in the assignment is example prompts from me. From shorter to longer and more complicated. I hardly ever specify formatting in my initial prompt. This file also includes example follow-up prompts at the end. Once you get a response, you can enter a follow-up prompt and get the follow-up response. You can enter another follow-up prompt to the follow-up response, and so on, iteratively. A conversation. This works well, so don't struggle to create a perfect prompt. Let the chatbot do the work. Prompting in multiple steps rather than one long complicated prompt is sometimes called prompt chaining. This has the advantage of isolating an issue to a specific prompt and correcting it before moving on. The perfect is the enemy of the good. Your time is valuable. Prompting the chatbots is not meant to be an exercise in English composition. Start somewhere. Start small, but start. When in doubt as to what to prompt, use what you would say to a human assistant. With a little experience, you will enter short prompts when they suit you and longer prompts when that suits you, and the chatbots will do fine. Sometimes the chatbot must make assumptions to generate its response to your prompt, but you'd prefer that it tell you what assumptions it is making, or ask you for more information to generate the best answer for you. You can add this sentence when you wish. Before you answer, tell me what you need to know to answer well, and point out any assumptions you'd otherwise make. I read this 2026 book, ChatGPT and AI for Seniors. It is very easy to read with many suggestions for seniors like me on how chatbots can easily and quickly help us in our daily life. For example, using chatbots to better understand your grandchildren's interests and lives, or getting help to craft email messages on difficult, sensitive subjects, or to reconnect with people. Now I want to show you the first assignment, for which there is a link in the master document. I recommend that you spend 2 to 3 hours on each assignment. Whether you do the assignments or not, I recommend that you read the assignment document. I put information in the assignment documents that is not in the lectures. I won't read aloud the entire assignment, but I will explain some points. I spent months developing the 5 assignments. In each assignment, I identify the set of tools for the assignment and give you strengths and weaknesses of each tool. You will choose which tools to try. Before next video, I would like you to have spent at least 40 to 60 minutes having used ChatGPT and at least 40 to 60 minutes having used Claude. If you already have that much experience, that's great. Then I want you to spend your remaining time using one or more of Gemini, Copilot, and Perplexity. Your choice. By the end of this course, I hope you will have tried all 5 of these chatbots. Here are additional tools for anyone with additional time to spend. For the first assignment, you will use the chatbots to generate text responses, not prompt the chatbots to create custom images, which we will do in assignment 2, or create presentations, which we will do in assignment 4. Next, I give you a number of suggestions. In each assignment, I give you links to documents with example prompts or guidance for prompting for that part of the assignment. But you decide what to prompt. Use your own interests and creativity. You may not need any help thinking of prompts, but still the documents may be worth skimming for uses you did not realize. And here I give you notes about this use of the tools. In the first assignment, don't give chatbots your personal, private, confidential, or sensitive information. Later, we will cover temporary chats that you can use if you do want the chatbot to help with medical or insurance information. And here is optional extra work if you have completed the assignment. I hope you can spend 2 to 3 hours per assignment. If you have extra time you wish to spend, either before next video or in the future, the assignments can keep you busy in productive directions. The final section is optional material you do not need at all for this assignment or for this course. There are books and articles and responses from the chatbots. In developing this course, I prompted the chatbots many times to list tools and their pros and cons. I put those prompts and responses into documents, and I give you links here. You don't need any of that to use the tools, but the information is here. You may freely share with others any document or link I give you. Just do it. Learn by doing. Try each thing a few times and you'll do fine. We will not become expert or even mature users during this course, but we will survey different tools and capabilities so that you can continue your interests when the course is finished. The more you use the tools, the better you will get. You will not break anything, though I did eventually break Gemini. The tools will not yell at you, criticize you, or judge you, though I did once almost annoy Claude by repeating my question several times before I understood what it was saying. We will only use the free tier. Don't let any tool convince you to give your credit card or pay for a subscription to do this coursework. Crisis, restricted content, and guardrails. Someone in crisis should stop using the chatbot and call a hotline or seek professional assistance. Major U.S. chatbots today probably include guardrails concerning discussing suicide, self-harm, harm to others, and some criminal activities. For more information, ask the chatbot. In ChatGPT, you can set a trusted contact to be notified in the event a prompt suggests a serious safety concern. Safety, privacy, and personal information. ChatGPT allegedly shares your chat query topics, user IDs, and email addresses with Google and Meta. I haven't verified this. You should assume that chatbots might share some of your information with their other products and possibly with other companies. Don't give chatbots your personal, private, or confidential information, including your last name, street address, phone number, social security number, date of birth, your email address in a prompt, credit card numbers, insurance information, account numbers, or login information. Even if you haven't given the chatbot your name, it knows your IP address, which companies could try to match to your identity from other information on the internet and in databases. From your IP address, chatbots can infer your approximate location unless you use a VPN. I see no harm in telling your city, as you may sometimes ask about the weather forecast or local events. Don't tell chatbots anything that would harm you if it got disclosed. By default, chatbots aren't connected to other apps and services, but you might connect them in future and information could get leaked. Chatbot companies want to include information from your prompts and their generated responses in their future training data. You can set to block that, as we will see later. Even so, you might not want to tell chatbots anything that you don't ever want included in their future training data. Don't give chatbots your financial information or medical information. That is easy to say, but chatbots can be uniquely useful to you if your privacy can be preserved. You might want information about a drug you are taking or that has been recommended, or about medical test results. You could ask a chatbot, but you don't want this sensitive personal information of yours to be saved as history, remembered for context in future chats, passed to other apps, passed to other companies, or used as future training data. You want chatbot assistance, and then you want that information to be completely and permanently removed as though you had never prompted it. With Google search, you can search in an incognito window, but Google and websites can still see, save, and use your search information. For a new chat, the major chatbots have temporary chat or incognito chat buttons at the upper right. This is ChatGPT, and I will click temporary chat. It shows temporary chat, and the prompt box changed from white to black as a visual reminder that this is a temporary chat. Different chatbots have different visual indicators. ChatGPT tells us this chat won't appear in history or be used to train our models. For safety purposes, we may keep a copy of this chat for up to 30 days. The other chatbots give comparable information, though Perplexity does not talk about training their models. Great! We should use temporary chat or incognito chat for sensitive queries, such as medical information. Your prompts in temporary or incognito chats will not be saved to your history. But ChatGPT, Claude, and Perplexity do reference information that you had provided in settings. Gemini and Copilot seem to reference nothing, a fresh chat. To end this chat, for Claude and Copilot, click at the upper right. For ChatGPT and Gemini, click New Chat, which you can also do with Copilot. For Perplexity, click New Chat and then the upper right. When you end a temporary or incognito chat, it is no longer accessible to you and will eventually expire permanently. Use temporary and incognito chats when appropriate. You could use these all the time, but then you wouldn't build history, memory, and context for the chatbot to use in generating responses that will be most useful to you. So don't do that. In Assignment 2, we will learn how chatbots can summarize and abstract documents of all kinds. Medical documents, test results, imaging results, insurance benefits, and billing documents are complicated for any age, as are contracts. Chatbots can summarize these documents, and then you can ask questions and get responses. You should use temporary or incognito chats for your privacy. You can copy-paste the responses to your computer before you end the chat. The documents probably have your personal information. Even with temporary or incognito chats, you might feel safer redacting your personal information from the file before uploading it to the chatbot. Some PDF redaction tools do a proper job of redaction, and others look okay but are actually ineffective. I will give you a link to an article. Chatbot information is not always correct, factual, or true, so beware. More on this later. Chatbot responses are never a substitute for professional advice. Chatbots can help you understand your drugs, illnesses, and medical conditions. They generate information that might seem like good advice, but it is not professional advice, not human thinking, not reliable, and not always factual. Use the chatbot's information to talk with your doctor, nurse, or pharmacist. Chatbot responses are not a substitute for a financial or tax advisor. Use the chatbot's information to talk with your advisor. In the default configuration, chatbot websites and apps cannot look at files on your computer other than what you specifically upload to the prompt. but I have not used Copilot on Windows or Gemini with Google Drive, Docs, Photos, or Gmail. The chatbots, as we will use them in this course, cannot access your accounts on the internet. We will not explore such agentic AI capabilities. Some email systems can be accessed by some chatbots, Gmail by Gemini, Outlook by Copilot, which can be very powerful. I have not tried this. I believe it needs some explicit enabling, but it might not be clear what access you are enabling. How to get help. If you don't know how to do something in a chatbot or in a non-chatbot tool, or you don't know what can be done or what the options are, or you want examples or you have questions, ask one of the chatbots by prompting them, not looking for their help center. You could ask Google search or look for a YouTube video, but I encourage you to use the chatbots as your assistants in this course. Now I'm returning to ChatGPT. For all chatbots, the left side of the window is the sidebar. It can be open or closed. At the moment, it's closed, and I open it by clicking here. Copilot sometimes shows a second sidebar on the right, which we will cover later in the course. We will cover different buttons and capabilities in the sidebar later in the course, but now I want to cover New Chat. You can continue to enter prompts and get responses. That will work, but your chat will eventually get long and cluttered. This is not good organization and not ideal for how the chatbot works. At some point, you should create a new chat. When you're about to change to a different topic, create a new chat. The original chat still exists, and you can go back to it and add new prompts. So, partly new chat is good organization, like creating folders on your computer. But it also helps the chatbot to do a better job for you. More on this later in the course. With the sidebar open, look at the lower left, which I have to scroll to. We see recent chats. After our first prompt and response, the chatbot generates a name for the chat. You can then rename the chat by clicking the three dots. Rename. I do this all the time. Two chats can have the same name. ChatGPT doesn't care. You can permanently delete a chat if you wish with delete, but you can keep many chats. In ChatGPT, but not the other chatbots, you can declutter by archiving chats that you don't want to see, but you want to keep, not delete. See, archive. You can unarchive an archived chat. How long chats are retained by default in free tier varies by chatbot. ChatGPT and Claude retain chats indefinitely, but not guaranteed to be permanent. I have ChatGPT chats from 2023. Gemini auto-deletes chats after 18 months by default. You can change the setting to 3 months, 36 months, or disable auto-deletion. Copilot auto-deletes chats after 18 months by default when you are signed in with a personal Microsoft account. I don't know if you can change this. The Perplexity chatbot says that it retains chats indefinitely. Other information said 30 days for free tier and 90 days for paid tier. My oldest Perplexity chat on free tier is almost 90 days. I will give you a link to chatbot retention. How the chatbot works. Chatbots generate responses to your prompts rather than retrieving content from the internet or a database and regurgitating that content to you. Chatbot models generate responses one word at a time, calculating the most likely next response word based on the prior response words and your prompt, and some of your conversational history, more or less. More on this later in the course. The probability for one word following others come from training the large language model on a vast amount of information pulled from the internet at the time of training some months ago. The large language models are pre-trained, post-trained, and then aligned. For example, OpenAI GPT 5.5's training cutoff was August 2025, and Google Gemini 3.5 was January 2026. New models with more recent training cutoff dates get released over time. Some companies make new models available first to paid tiers and later to free tier. The chatbots can also access current events from the internet, but they typically only do that when you prompt for current events, the weather, etc. We will cover this in Assignment 3. They do not generally recheck pre-trained information against the internet to respond to prompts, but more on this later in the course. Large language models were trained on all the information they could pull from the internet. From websites, Wikipedia, Reddit, news sites, articles, journal article sites, newspaper archives, e-books, scanned books, government documents, photo albums, music catalogs, fan fiction, blog posts, some social media, and also on users' chatbot chats. This included personal opinions, stereotypes, prejudices, rants, conspiracy theories, wrong theories and ideas, and junk science. Nothing on the internet marks truth and facts from falsehood, fiction, opinions, or nonsense. Large language model training does not know facts from falsehoods, but it does see how web pages are linked to one another. Which websites are well connected and which are stubs. Large language model training can assess some quality aspect to training data, but it is not truth and falsehood. You can give the same prompt to new chats at different times and get different responses. Some of this comes from your conversational history, and some comes from the probabilistic nature of how the chatbot models generate responses. Hallucinations and feedback. Chatbots and generative AI models are not infallible sources of truth or fact, are not trustworthy narrators, are not authorities on any topic. But they write so well. They must know the subject and material to write so well? No. They don't know anything the way we know things, which is a whole different matter. What they know is the likely next words following prior words in a response based on large language model training from internet sources. Sometimes this might be called pattern recognition, but I don't think the professionals call it that. It is fairly magical that chatbots can respond to our prompts at all, much less how well written the responses are. That description is overly simplistic. The process is complicated, and we can't understand it in detail. Some responses will be factually incorrect, wrong, false. These are referred to as hallucinations. It might be that the language model selected one word when a different word would have been more factual, but then having selected that word, the rest of the response went in a different direction, perhaps a false direction. Or it might be that the chatbot included some information from your past conversations that steered the response in a wrong direction. Regardless, chatbot responses make mistakes. The mistakes can be small errors, large errors, nonsensical or ridiculous, all within very well-written prose. It's like having a well-spoken, knowledgeable, interesting, know-it-all friend who, once in a while, slips or misspeaks, or makes stuff up, or lies shamelessly or schemes. Only once in a while, but still you want to catch these. Over time, I have detected a number of errors in responses to my prompts. An incorrect visible wavelength number that was obviously wrong to me, yellow instead of blue. A helpful discussion of the moons of Jupiter being eclipsed by Jupiter as they orbit Jupiter, followed by a sincere warning to never look directly at Jupiter because I could go blind. The silly language model shifted from a discussion about Jupiter to a warning about solar eclipses without knowing what it was doing. Cutting edges and corners off a cube to get close to a sphere and reporting the results. Some chatbots got some things right, but every chatbot got some things wrong. Some got everything wrong, and all failed to generate a good final image. I asked for information from the book, Project Hail Mary, and some chatbots made things up incorrectly. For these cases, I gave the response a thumbs down and then specified that the response was factually incorrect. You can reprompt to question a result or point out an error. Some of the chatbots will seem to acknowledge their error, sometimes in a patronizing or sycophantic style, to appease the user, which I hate. Remember that the chatbots and models do not know facts and truth. They are great at natural language. There have been made-up citations, made-up dates, and events that never happened. But they write so well. A large language model generates fluent text and can be wrong in fluent ways. The classic case is all chatbots knowing that humans have 5 fingers on each hand, and yet repeatedly generating images with 6 fingers, even telling you that there are 5 fingers when you see 6. Silly chatbot. Chatbots generally cannot reproduce trained material verbatim and will generate the sense of the material. If you are using the chatbot for research, or you plan to represent the responses as factual, you should verify the responses against relevant internet sources. The Perplexity chatbot is particularly good at providing source links with the reputation that those links are well related to the generated result. I have tried this, but I confess that I hardly ever check the chatbot results except against my understanding or sometimes against Wikipedia articles or my books. Please remember that chatbot responses will be well written and plausible sounding, but occasionally will be incorrect or nonsense without alerting you to this. I tell you this and you hear me now, but as you read more and more well-written responses, you are very likely to be lulled into believing all the chatbot responses because they are so well written. And because verifying the information is such an annoying, time-consuming chore. We use the chatbots to help us and to save time, not to have to research everything they generate. It is so tempting to just copy-paste chatbot responses into presentations, documentations, email, etc. Eventually, you will not notice that you unwittingly told people that they will go blind if they look at Jupiter, or your lovely generated image has a six-fingered hand that you did not notice. Then you will remember, at least for a brief time, that AI tools don't know truth or facts. They don't know science as a scientist does. They hallucinate. Generated suggested follow-ups. Sometimes some chatbots will generate follow-up suggestions at the end of their response, which I have found very helpful. ChatGPT stopped giving me suggestions for an extended period, and I wasn't able to figure out why. It seems restored now. Here's an example from ChatGPT. Here are the suggested follow-ups. You can ignore these follow-up suggestions and continue your prompts, or if you want to take some of the follow-up suggestions, you could tell the chatbot yes to all, or do the first and third, or all but the first, whatever the chatbot could understand. Don't type in the suggestions, don't copy-paste them, just reference them. When I was using ChatGPT to learn about color and human color vision, I found these suggestions immensely helpful. Sometimes they were obvious follow-ons, but the chatbot saved me the work of typing them. Other times they identified some issue I had not considered. For ChatGPT, I believe these suggestions used to disappear as you continue the chat, but now I sometimes see them. Perhaps this is a change to the user interface. I have often looked back on a long chat from days or weeks ago and wished I could see those suggestions from the past, but I didn't want to retry the prompt. Here's an example from Perplexity, which is a little different. In this case, these are hot links that you can click. On free tier, you cannot use Perplexity's links that say computer at the right. We will cover additional chatbot buttons and capabilities in coming videos. Chatbots can generate presentations. You will try this in assignment 4. I gave this prompt to 5 chatbots. Create a 10-slide presentation for senior adults explaining how AI chatbots work. Use plain language, large readable text, minimal jargon, and include one real-world example per slide. Add speaker notes and a short conclusion about safe and responsible AI use. I will give you a link to their presentations. I encourage you to look at these presentations. We won't cover them in this video. This is what Claude's presentation looks like. This is what Gemini's presentation looks like. The other presentations were text. These presentations warn you not to share medical information with the chatbots, but I covered earlier how you can use temporary or incognito chats, and you can redact information from PDFs. This completes the first video. I encourage you to spend time on the first assignment before continuing to the second video.